they keep on sending to us any negative or perverse thought that might be available. Yet have we any defense against this? How are we going to defend ourselves against persons we don't know, perhaps, certainly whose location we could not find, whom we cannot take into court and charge them with some malicious mischief? Persons who perhaps we have gradually come to fear with such an intensive terror that it is destroying our own rest and sleep. And if we were able to pick up the telephone and say to these persons, "Are you trying to make life miserable for me?" quite possible the individual would answer, "Yes. I'm doing all I can to make life miserable for you." So here it is. I'm miserable. Someone else admits they're trying to make me miserable. The circumstantial evidence would almost stand in court. Yet it doesn't have to be true even when it goes that far, because we are still faced with this constant problem. How are we going to assume any kind of a just existence if another person can make life miserable for us because they want to, and not because there is any justice in it? I think we have to realize that man has been equipped by life with everything necessary to protect him on this dangerous journey which we call existence. Just as surely as he has gradually developed means for the protection of his outer body, as he has developed all that is required to preserve himself as far as possible against almost any creature except his own kind, we realize that man is psychically well equipped to defend himself. He is psychically set with a keynote of vibration. No two human beings have the same keynote. The discovery of this keynote by any other person is an extremely remote possibility. And even assuming that it could possibly be done, there still remains the problem of the ethical universe in which we live. From what we can learn from the older philosophical systems, man is capsulated or enclosed in a magnetic field. This field, in turn, is surrounded or held by a mysterious thing called the auric egg. The walls of this egg are stronger than steel, but completely invisible. Against this field, any bacterial organism, anything of this nature, has almost no chance whatever of making any inroad upon man. In fact, nearly always, any individual who suffers from a bacterial or germ infection or contagion does so because primarily the germs are already on the inside of this situation. We are carrying all these in our own bodies, and they are coming out into victorious manifestation because of mistakes that we make in the maintenance of our own economy. If we allow ourselves physically to run down, the germs take over. If we build up, the germs retire. Nature has provided us with a most extraordinary defense mechanism. And this mysterious mechanism extends also into our psychic lives. If we can assume an honest person owing no psychic debt to anyone, living a constructive life, and free from any immediate pressures of karma, if we assume this person, and assume that they are a well-integrated individual, I think we can at the same time assume the so-called malicious psychic persecution is impossible for that person to suffer. Something has to happen to break down the natural defenses of the individual. And these breakdowns are the real cause of the whole problem. Somebody who wants to use some mysterious ability to injure us can turn that ability in our direction. But if we are not a proper receiving station, it goes right back to the original sender and causes more trouble than it can ever cause us. Because always the sorcerer finally becomes the victim of his own sorcery. He is setting up negative karma in himself, and this karma will destroy him more rapidly than a bullet. So no matter what he wants to do to somebody else, all he can do is destroy himself. The answer as far as this affects us lies in a number of secondary situations which seemingly have a strong bearing on this matter. One of these secondary situations that I'd like to particularly mention is that there seems to be a proven and demonstrable fact of thought transference. In other words, we are unable to disprove and have no desire to disprove that the thought of one person can be communicated to another. I think we will find as time goes on that this power will increase with man, and that in time it is very possible that the principal form of communication will be by thought transfer.